Welcome to episode 197. Robert Johnson, first black self-made billionaire in the world. This is an outline of episode 197. There are 3 reasons why we study Robert Johnson. First, he's the world's first black self-made billionaire. Second, he's the founder of BET, Black Entertainment TV. Third, 1 year after he became a billionaire, he underwent the world's most expensive divorce, lost $400 million, and his status as a billionaire. Let us meet young Robert Johnson.
Bob Johnson is the president of Black Entertainment Television. Bob, welcome very, very much to Conversations. Tell us, Black Entertainment Television, what's it about for the cable television audiences?
Black Entertainment Television is the nation's first and only cable television satellite network distributing black programming on an advertising-supported basis to about 4.5 million cable households across the nation.
Quality program.
Quality black entertainment as we can find.
The problem finding quality entertainment, black entertainment programming, is that a problem?
I think it is a problem because, as you know, there's no production mill, if you will, turning out black programming simply because there's never been a distribution system for black programming, because television has to have mass appeal programming, so you can't target it specifically to any particular group. Black Entertainment Television is attempting to open up that distribution system.
Robert Johnson was born in Hickory, Mississippi in 1946. He was the 10th child of 17 children of Archie Johnson, a farmer. Here's a map of Hickory, Mississippi. As a child, his family moved to Freeport, Illinois, where he graduated from high school. In 1968, he graduated from the University of Illinois with a degree in social studies. In 1972, Robert Johnson graduated from the Woodrow Wilson School of Public and International Affairs, Princeton University, with a master's degree.
After Princeton, Robert entered the real world by finding a job as the public affairs director for the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. At the same time, Robert also worked as the director of communications for the Washington, D.C. office of the National Urban League.
Johnson was working as a lobbyist on Capitol Hill when he met another young man called John Malone. John Malone would later be known as the Cable Cowboy after he made billions in the 1980s and the 1990s.
Malone recognized that TCI needed to acquire in order to survive. And in the early 80s, he pushed TCI to invest in small, underdeveloped rural systems. Malone's financial philosophy also kept TCI reinvesting its profits. By putting the money back into the business, the cable company would grow at an unprecedented pace. Through his work on the NCTA Board of Directors, John Malone realized that it is essential for cable operators to support programmers. Under Malone's leadership, TCI and later Liberty Media aided the growth and development of programmers like Discovery, Encore, TBS, and BET.
In 1979, John Malone partnered with Robert Johnson to found BET. Robert Johnson, then at age 33, had no prior business experience. It was a cowboy kind of deal. The amount invested was $500,000. Robert Johnson would own 80% of BET.
I'll never forget when we did this deal. It took about 30 minutes to close this deal. It was real. Back then, you could do a deal on a handshake, and essentially what we did. But he wrote me a check on the spot for $500,000 to get BET started. And after I got the check, I said, "John, I've never run a business. What advice can you give me?" He said, "Real simple. Get your revenues up and keep your costs down." And it was that kind of straightforward advice that I think is the hallmark of John Malone. He's a guy with tremendous vision for a complex transaction, yet at the same time, he has just a basic approach to how do you make a business work.
Years later, Robert Johnson would sell BET to Viacom for $3 billion. Robert Johnson became the world's first black self-made billionaire. Here are his thoughts.
At one point, we were discussing buying radio stations as part of our strategy. And about the time that we were looking to buy radio stations, AOL merged with Time Warner. And it occurred to us that this was sort of the highest valuation for media companies you'd ever see in a long time. He asked me what was my goal for BET, and I said to make it the preeminent African-American company in the world. And he said that would be our goal too at Viacom, and one that had a sensitivity to BET's independence. And so we struck a deal that sold BET to Viacom. I just basically told them that as long as I was there, the company was going to run the way I ran it with John Malone. And if they wanted me to stay at the company for the 5 years I was going to sign the contract, it had to be independent.
Next came the most expensive divorce in the world. His wife and then co-founder of BET, Sheila Johnson, would be awarded $400 million for settlement. Sadly, Robert Johnson was a billionaire no more. And almost like a TV opera, Sheila Johnson would later marry the judge who awarded her the $400 million settlement. Never mind the name of the judge. And these two would live happily ever after. In 2002, he bought the Charlotte Hornets, an NBA basketball team, for $300 million. Later, he sold his stakes to Michael Jordan for $175 million. In 2009, Michael Jordan paid $25 million to Robert Johnson. So Johnson was essentially paid peanuts and lost more than $200 million.
The Charlotte Bobcats basketball team in 2002, but after poor management, which lasted for 8 years, he sold his stake to the NBA Hall of Famer Michael Jordan.
That's right.
How did he get there?
Well, over the last several months, Kurt, Jordan, who is the majority owner of the Hornets and has been since 2010 when he bought out Robert Johnson for $175 million.
Mike, you're reporting that Michael Jordan is the first U.S. professional athlete to become a billionaire.
Not all is lost. In 2016, Robert Johnson married Lauren Wooden. He was 70 years old then. Lauren Wooden was 37.
Regarding his personal life, Robert married Lauren Wooden in 2016. The couple's been together since 2010. Interestingly, Robert is older than her father.
What have I learned today? First, almost with perfect timing, Robert Johnson co-founded BET with $500,000 of seed investment from John Malone in 1979. Second, he sold BET to Viacom for $3 billion and became the world's first black self-made billionaire. Third, a costly divorce with Sheila Johnson awarded $400 million, and Robert Johnson lost his billionaire status. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and leave your questions and comments below. My next video will be Robert Johnson, 9 lessons. Wishing everyone peace and prosperity.